Everybody, I think we're going to start the meeting. There are only two of us here tonight, but I think we'll at least start with the first part of the meeting.
Yeah, so Chair, there has to be agreement from both applicants who are going to be before the committee tonight that they are willing to go ahead with just two councillors. Yeah, so we'll ask them when it comes to them that they will confirm.
Okay, so we have received no apologies for tonight's meeting. Do we have any declarations of interest? No. And I would ask you to, I'd refer to pages 7 to 26, which outline the procedure that we're following for the meeting later on. The minutes of the meeting held on the 13th of January. I don't think either Ian or I was here, but I think Alison and Hannah, if you've got any, you're happy? Okay, so I'm happy to approve the minutes. Now, in a change to the running order tonight, we were going to go into private session for item 8 to discuss a private hire licence. The person has asked to defer that until a further meeting. So I just want to check that that everyone's agreeable for us to do that and not to discuss that any further.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, we've had confirmation from the subject they're out of the country currently, so they've asked for the deferral.
Okay. Thank you. In which case, we'll then move on to item 5, which is the street trading application for suite formation. Do you want to come forward? Just the start of the meeting. I think I now hand over. Who is presenting the report? Hi, Matthew. I'm happy to go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just is it okay if the officer from licensing masters leaves, is not involved in any further matters on the agenda?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
We haven't introduced ourselves. Would it be helpful if we went around and just thank you. And then
Alessandra Ruggirello, Regulation Compliance Officer.
Matt Stead, the Senior Licensing Officer.
And I'm Mary Clarkson, one of the councillors who will be determining the application tonight.
I'm Councillor Ian Yateman.
I'm Alison Daly. I'm a solicitor for the council and I'm advising the subcommittee this evening.
I'll now hand over to Matthew to present the case.
Thank you, Chair. The application in agenda item 5 is the application from Simon Eastwood, represented here by Jean Eastwood, his mother, but who will also be working primarily on the trading unit that is proposed as part of his application. It will trade a suite formation and it's seeking consent to trade from the location identified, which is at the Kassam Stadium in Oxford. The Kassam Stadium is private land, but the street trading policy that we have requires consent to be gained from the landowner, which we have in writing already received, and also consent to be issued by the City Council, which is the purpose of this hearing, or determining that consent is the purpose of this hearing. The proposed user is a professionally converted van for trading, and it's proposed that it sells drinks and desserts effectively. And the hours of trading are the location of between midday and 5 o'clock on the occasion of Oxford United home games. The time restriction can be put on any issued consent as a condition that will have the effect of preventing trading at any times other than that. You'll see in one of the appendixes, I've, by way of example, provided some of the dates of the home games that might be an occasion for trading for this applicant. It's not proposed in any way that that there are dates put on the street trading consent. It's just by way of example. Not least because we don't know the dates of next season's games yet. The reason it is before the committee today is we don't have a delegated authority to grant street trading consents at first application. And the application, having been through the required consultation period, hasn't received any adverse comment in relation to this application at all. And so it is a straight case of the determination of the panel based on the information before them. I draw your attention to point 12 of the application, of the report, paragraph 12. And we have a policy of having a single renewal date in Oxford City for ease, simplicity and consistency. That date is the 31st of March 2025, which is of course not very far away. And so it is asked that the panel consider not only the grant of a consent until that expiry date of the 31st of March 2025, but also the consent for next year, if it's to be granted at the same time, to save the bureaucratic process of processing a renewal for a consent that will only run a month and a half. And that would be, the second one will run from the 1st of April 2025 to the 31st of March 2026. And so the options that are available to the committee in determining this application are to grant the street trading consent as applied for to expire on the 31st of March 2025, and or to grant the street trading consent as applied for to expire on the 31st of March 2026, or to grant the street trading consent with additional conditions if you wanted to put any additional conditions you felt necessary, having considered the evidence in front of you, or to refuse the application for street trading consent. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Eastwood, have you got any questions or comments that you would like to make? Okay, all right, okay. Ian, have you got any comments?
Just in terms of the consultation, just that includes like police and things like that in terms of that.
Councillor, it does. I will confirm to you the parties involved in the consultation. It is, I had the list on my screen a moment ago. It's the Oxford County Council Highways team, Thames Valley Police, ward councillors, the planning service, the Environmental Health Authority for Food Safety and Commercial Pollution, who received the application and comment on it. And also, in other cases, any other person who we think might have a stake in it. So in this case, the stadium manager I spoke to personally.
There is a note on the application about staff to be confirmed. I assume in terms of the requirement in terms of food standards and everything, that would be something that.
Yeah, at the minute we've got 4. Full-time in the catering industry, and have also worked with the public as well.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, in which case, Mrs. Eastwood, do you want to speak on behalf of your patron?
Just to say,
Have they run this kind of business before from a van? Great. Anybody else got any questions, Mrs Eastwood?
Sorry, just in terms of the timing, it is just looking Saturday, Sunday afternoon games. We're not talking anything evening wise in terms of the timings.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, I think that it might be the odd evening game still. So I don't know, hopefully it would be for that as well.
Okay, so the licence covers kind of the evening sort of fixtures and that as well.
Do you want to come back? Okay.
Yes, please, Chair. Thank you. Well, the application states 12 until 5 p.m. as it is. So to include games after 5 p.m. would be an amendment to this application, which I think you probably can make. I would defer to Ali on whether the application can be amended in the hearing. But it's written on the application form 12 till 5 at the Kassam Stadium and on the occasion of home games.
And are those hours that you have put on there, or is that those ones that?
No, those are
Those
hours
ones
that
were
Mr
requested.
Eastwood has written on it.
Okay, and if we were to do as Ian suggested and, enable them to trade in the evening, would that require to go back to consultation, or would it be something that we could just amend now?
Chair, that's a very good point, but I think that if you're extending it it would be proportionate to how far you want to extend it. Like if you were thinking until 6 or 7, then maybe not. Maybe a couple of hours would be okay, but I would think if you're going to extend it till late at night,
Yes.
11 p.m, then it would only, I think also, sorry, I'll just advise, you probably just need confirmation as well, from Mr Eastwood's representative that is what is to be applied for tonight. So it would be a verbal amendment to the application, but you just get for the minutes that's confirmed.
Just for clarity, is that something that you would like? Or are you happy just to go for the 12 till 5 as suggested?
Does anybody know what kick-off time is usually? I don't know, I'm afraid.
7:45.
Yeah.
If there are no more questions or comments, then I think we will now adjourn and make our decision, and we'll call you back. So if you could leave, and everybody leave, and we'll call you back in once we've made our decision. Thanks. Sorry. Oh, thank you for waiting. We have made our decision and we're happy to grant the licence. The two amendments we would make are there's the first one, which is about the length for which the consent lasts, and it would be to the 31st of March 2026, not March 2025. And we also would like to extend the trading hours to 7:45 if you want to use that for evening games as well. So it would be from midday until 7:45. Okay, thanks. Any questions? And you will receive confirmation in writing of that. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Would you like to come forward? As I explained at the beginning of the previous application, there are just two of us making the decision tonight. Are you happy for us to go ahead with two rather than three? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Would you like us to go around, and introduce ourselves again? No, are you sure? Okay, you know who you are. Great. In which case, is it Alessandra? Yeah, would you like to hand over to you to?
Alessandra Ruggiero, Business Regulation Compliance Officer.
I'm Matt Stead, I'm the Senior Licensing Officer.
I'm Mary Clarkson, one of the councillors on the committee tonight.
I'm Councillor Ian Yateman.
Alison Daly, Solicitor Advising the Subcommittee.
I'm Ben Sorgiovanni.
My name is Paul Humperson and I'm here supporting Ben. Is it all right if I, on occasion, address the committee? Is that acceptable?
An opportunity to do that when the licensing officers present their report, and then if between you you do that, that's fine.
I'll let Ben talk, but yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So.
Thank you. Okay. Is it Matt, you presenting the report again? Thank you. Over to you then.
Thank you, Chair. The application attached to item 6 of the agenda is a street trading consent application. And in this case, you can see the applicants at the end of the room. It is for static trading in Hinksey Park from a 3-wheel Piaggio Ape van, which has been converted with a coffee machine attachment on the rear. And the application form can be seen in Appendix 1, and in this form, it outlines the procedures in some detail as to how they're going to carry on the business of trading coffee in Hinksey Park and the various benefits of that. The location, which the trade can be seen in Appendix 2, and it is just beyond the sort of linear car park arrangement on a piece of grass in the trees behind the football pitch. But the diagram, which is better than my explanation, can be seen on page 54 of the reports pack. Now, the application has been through the consultation process as required by the street trading consent policy. This consultation process didn't reveal any adverse comment at the time it was undertaken, and the amendment to the policy, or the addition, sorry, to the consultation was the head of the Green Spaces team at Oxford City Council, who was consulted for his views on trading from Hinksey Park, as it is managed by that team. His response can be found on page 55 in Appendix 3. Chris Bell, it says it was sent to him previously, it's all good from his end, and he thinks it will be welcomed by the users of the park, as he has obviously been subjected to ongoing requests for a cafe. And currently there isn't a cafe in the park. After the close of the consultation process, and after, in fact, the publication of this report, an objection was received from another street trader who also has permission to trade in Hinksey Park on a peripatetic basis. This is a trader that was seen by this committee, although I don't think these members, last year and granted to trade on this peripatetic basis in Hinksey Park. The trader's business name is the Wide Awake Club, and it's a coffee bicycle. And it has a trading route which runs from Redbridge Park and Ride on a defined route through Hinksey Park and then up to Grand Pont Recreation Ground. Certainly there is an amount of dwell time built into that route in Hinksey Park. The peripatetic street trading conditions, however, have certain restrictions in place that limit that. The trading is only allowed to take place for 20 minutes at any one time on a peripatetic street trading consent, after which time the consent holder must move on a minimum of 50 metres to a different location. And they cannot return within 4 hours. The hours of trading for this particular consent is Saturdays only, 8 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the evening. Sorry, in the afternoon, not evening. 3 o'clock in the afternoon for the whole of the peripatetic route. The peripatetic route doesn't limit the trader to only performing that route. They can perform sales on any stage of that route and stop in those locations. But that is the only representation received, albeit after the publication date of this report. And it is a representation. The only basis of it is competition. No other concerns were raised. As with the previous consent, the short period of time between the potential granting of this consent and the expiry date, I would ask the committee consider the granting of the consent until the 31st of March 2026, which will result in a consent being issued which would expire on the 31st of March, and another this year, and another consent being issued that would expire in 2026. And so the options that the committee have before them are to grant those consents as described just by me just then, to grant the street trading consent with any additional conditions or restrictions or modified in any way the committee see fit, or to refuse the application of street trading consents. Thank you, Chair.
Are there any questions or comments? Can I just be clear then? So in Hinksey Park at the moment, there is no provision Sunday till Friday through to Friday to buy coffee or other snacks.
That's correct, Chair. There's no other concession there.
Okay, any other comments? No? Okay. Mr. Soggiovanni, do you want to speak? And your colleague, thank you.
Yeah, cheers. Maybe I should just say something about why it is that we're applying for a 7-day license. So we don't intend to trade on a Saturday, given that Wide Awake Club already has a license to trade on a Saturday. But we would like the possibility of trading on a Saturday on the occasion that Lucy, the owner of Wide Awake Club, can't make it on a Saturday. We think that being in the park reliably, or the reliable provision of coffee in the park, is important for the viability of both our business and Wide Awake Club. So that's our reason for applying for a 7-day license. I mean, we would be absolutely happy, from our point of view, it would be ideal if there were, some amendment attached to the license saying that we could trade in the park on a Saturday only if Lucy was not trading. I think that's all. Just at this stage, thank you.
Any comments or questions? Anybody?
Generally summarise those.
Thank you, Chair. The proposed amendments from the applicant would be, or could be, if it was desired, be put on any consent issued as a condition that would prevent trading when the competing trader was in the park, if that was the wish of the committee. And the committee will probably word it something on the lines of, trading shall not take place on the occasion of another peripatetic trader being in the park, something like that.
It sounds to me like you want to cooperate and work together. I'm just thinking how this could be enforced. If the Wide Awake Club, you don't know necessarily at what time they will be in the park on any given Saturday. So presumably you'd expect Trading Post to shut up shop for that period of 20 minutes and then reopen once they'd moved on to the Grampont Park or wherever. Is that right?
Thank you, Chair. In terms of enforcement, it might be a more difficult one to enforce. It would be a case of an officer observing that there was one trader in the park trading already, and then taking the appropriate action. We don't have many conditions placed on other street trading consents where the basis of that condition is competition, although I believe it is within the gift of the committee to place conditions on that basis.
Do you want to?
Yeah. So just to say, we wouldn't be trading on a Saturday unless we heard from Lucy. I mean, practically the way that it would work is Lucy would get in touch and say, look, I'm not going to be there on this particular Saturday. Would you like to cover it? Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the park on a Saturday. That's
helpful.
I just wonder if I can ask a question, Chair, to clarify my understanding. Your application is not for peripatetic trading. It's for actually a fixed location, although it's not on hard standing as it is. It's on the grass, as it were.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
And you'll remove your van it goes in and out of the park.
That's right.
Whereas the Wide Awake Club is peripatetic, so they have the option of moving around, not just the park, but everywhere else. So although, as I understand it, Matthew, the Wide Awake Club isn't necessarily in the park all day on a Saturday, moving around. Can't be.
That is correct, Chair. They could be anywhere else along the route, which is between Redbridge, Park and Ride and Grampont, with a number of stops.
Could I just make one point of context as well that might help the subcommittee, which is that both businesses. So Lucy, who we know well, and I think there's a good collaboration there. I'm not sure what the sort of framing it as an objection is sort of exactly as she intended it. I think it's more of a sort of representation to make the committee clear about what was happening. But both that business, she runs that business on her own, and Ben and his partner, these are both small businesses run by families of one or two people. And so I think the reality, as Ben's already said, is that it's, the community of New Hinksey has been made clear sort of quite want some coffee here. And I think that the more it can be reliably there at certain times, the better for the community and for the traders. And the reality with both of these businesses is that they're relying on one or two individuals. And so actually having a bit of backup in that sense, and from a licensing perspective, which will allow them to sort of step in and out as the case may be, is actually probably pretty helpful for both businesses. It's not like there's a team behind either of these businesses. It's really a one or two person business with children and other things, other life commitments involved.
Thank you. Any comments?
Could I just understand where Wide Awake Coffee actually position themselves in the park? I can kind of understand where you are. I'm just not sure where they.
So Wide Awake Club, I mean, they move around a little bit. I'm not sure I could speak to exactly where they are in the park, but in terms of where we intend to be, it's between the splash park and the bicycle path in Hinksey Park. And that's the only place that we'll be. I can't off the top of my head remember the locations from which Lucy serves coffee. Yeah.
Yeah,
the Wide Awake Club. But it's not, that's not one of them.
it does. It's nice to hear that you want to collaborate. I just get a bit of conflict in my head with the consistency and then not being there on a Saturday. I find it a little bit, and there's a big park, there's lots of people, there's lots of space. I'm not sure that it would be necessary if you didn't want to. So personally, it might not be a concession that I would suggest for you not to have that option to trade on a Saturday, and then you're free if you feel there's enough space in the park to trade, because there's a lot of people at that top end with the children's play area and everything else as people come in. If they can, I don't know what locations they can park the bike exactly to work from, but I feel there's probably space in that park for two on a Saturday in that limited time that they're there.
I think it might be an illustration of Ben's highly collaborative attitude that he's willing to make that concession. But I would say on his behalf that I agree. I don't think that concession is necessary. I think there's quite enough room for the licenses to be. But the intention very clearly is that it wouldn't be in either of the traders' interests to overlap. That they're struggling to fill a 7-day window between two businesses as it stands. I think the intention would be that they, on a weekly basis, probably as they already do, speak to each other and decide to fill a rota with the two of them to make sure that there's a consistent high quality coffee offer in Hinksey Park between the two businesses. Both of which are run by people who are well known and well loved in the community. I think that would be very much the intention.
You don't have to apply a condition. You can grant, it's one option for you. It depends on your deliberations. And then it would literally be, rather than a condition, it would literally be down to collaboration, which we have been assured takes place anyway.
Thank you. I think my view is that that's probably the best way, rather than to overregulate something that can be resolved. Thank you. Questions or comments? No, in which case, if you don't mind leaving the room or we make a decision, thank you. Thanks for waiting. We've considered the application and we're very happy to grant it as you've requested, but also bearing in mind that the licence would run to the 31st of March 2026. So, yeah, okay, thank you very much.
Great, thank
Thanks
you.
and good luck
Thank
with
you.
it. And on item 9, I understand that we have no comments on the confidential minutes, so those are approved. And finally, for noting the dates of future meetings. Thank you.